All right, here goes, everybody. Sit on back and enjoy yourselves because Core begins right. Oh, yeah, I can't quite do it without. Okay, there we go. All right, we're up now. Okay, here we go. Core begins in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Core. This is Core, and we're happy to be here. Episode 225. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. Day late, but not a dollar short. We're doing this on a Thursday night. It's June 25th, 2020, and we're pretty stoked to be here. I'm actually a little glad that we had an extra day because some extra stuff dropped during the last 24 hours that I think are significant. So we're going to talk about those and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we can't wait to learn how to speak and bring it to you. So here it is. Speaking of caffeine, I might need some. All right. Hey, Cyberpunk 2077 dropped a new trailer and some video stuff, some gameplay, some other things. Also, it got delayed. Feels like a little bit of this showcase was to help soften that blow a little bit. But we're no longer getting that game in September. I don't know if we talked about it last week or if it had already happened, but it is now delayed until November of this year. How upset are we? Johnny, did you lose sleep? Like, how do you feel?
No.
No?
I mean, we've talked about this with other games, and games I know or really, really want to be good, delay it as much as you need. You know, take the time you need. I think every one of us would be happier to see the story when Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, that it's amazing and that it's wonderful and it's all the things you want it to be, and not this game is broken, you're going to have to wait for a patch, here's people's faces melting off for no good reason, and all the other, stories that come out of games. I mean, they've essentially said the game is finished, that the extra time they are taking is purely to do testing and rigorous, bug squashing and things like that. It is basically pushed back as late as it can be without being pushed into next year. So, take that for what you want. And, I want it to be the best game that it can be, and I will wait for that.
I hope it's not more crunch time, like crunch in the.
I think they said the game was done. I thought I read that somewhere. They said it somewhere.
Like
they did. They
done.
said it. They said it in the announcement of it being pushed back. They said it was finished.
All right, so this is just polish time, like last minute polish time. Give us a little extra time. They didn't really indicate whether the shutdown / pandemic stuff impacted their workflow or not.
It's a lot closer to the holiday season, and I'm willing to bet this holiday season is going to be full of a lot of gift buying this year.
Yeah,
there's going to be an unloading of all. We're going to stress shop during Christmas, and even if it's just for that, I'm like, okay, I guess.
How do you feel about the idea that you'll have 2 new consoles out? I mean, for us, it won't matter. We're playing PC, right? We're all 3, I assume, planning on playing this game on a PC.
Yeah.
If not, though, for those who have consoles, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, of course, getting it, but PS5s and Xbox Series X's will be out, and in theory, at least on the Xbox side, confirmed, it should just play if you get an Xbox Series X.
Yeah, and in the video today, they did announce that they would have some sort of buy it for the previous generation, get it for the new generation for both PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
So you can feel good about, still getting the game if you're getting it on console on the previous generation. They said they would have more details closer to launch, so we don't know if that's going to be you just get it for free or how that's going to work, but they did say that was going to be a thing in there because we do know it's going to also come out on the new consoles as well.
Right. Now we have a little bit of this from Bo. Bo, you think this thing will be VR playable? Do you think it'll be VR playable right away? Someone's going to mod it? Like, what do you think?
How do you make a game Cyberpunk where like augmented reality and virtual reality are just the beginning of possibility and not adapt it for it VR? But I think they've designed it from the beginning, I think, to work really well in VR.
Yeah.
And I think this could end up being like a killer application for
killer
it.
VR
Squadrons looks pretty good, and I can't imagine that in VR. The Star Wars Squadrons game's announced as well, but it's just I want to play it in VR. Like I want to be in Night City. They make a lot of statements along the lines of like Night City is a character in this thing, right? Like it's alive. It has a personality. They've put a lot of love clearly into all the little details of a sprawling metropolis. Like how could you not put that? I'm like they've planned ahead on this, is what I'm saying. Like it's not going to be like, oh, now we've got to adapt it. I think this thing's going to run real sweet in VR.
I hope so. But no announcements to that effect today, right? I don't think they said anything about it.
They've been pretty good about the drip feed actually, and not much in the way of leaks either. So
yeah. I was a little nervous. Okay, so I full disclosure here. I haven't seen today's stuff, and I meant to, but didn't. Part of it was I was busy, but the other part was, well, also it aired right during a show when it was live, so I couldn't do it. But also part of me was like, I don't know if I want to see. I know I'm in. I know I'm fully in.
Right.
Like, this is going to be the number one thing I get this year.
The footage is the prologue of the game.
Yeah.
They're like, it's just the first few quests. Like, it's literally the prologue. And
okay.
I was like,
that's okay.
Because I felt like I spoiled a lot. There's so much cool shit in this trailer. And I'm like, the whole time I'm watching it. And, I have to change my pants 3 times.
Yeah. I
knew
you'd be excited.
Then I watched the interview thing, and it was like, yeah, you just saw the prologue. And I'm like, what? It's like, it doesn't look like I'm looking at the prologue. Like, it's, oh my God, this thing is going to be incredible, man.
I thought of you all day, all morning. I thought, man, Bo's going to just be losing his mind today because this is. Like
I'm beside myself with happiness.
Are you worried about how this is going to? I forgot what kind of video card you had. Are you worried about that performance and stuff? Are you worried about being ready for?
Well, I've got like a 1050 Ti or something. I got like the budget card for the gen just before the ray tracing, basically.
Oh, okay.
So I'll probably be okay, but. I mean, video card. There's always a budget card in the line. Like I can always slap a new one in that doesn't eat a lot of voltage. And
that's true.
My PC, so
that's true.
I think I'll be all right. We'll see. I've been saving up my pennies.
Yeah,
there may be a new PC in the near future. I've also had a hard couple weeks, so I'm looking to give myself something nice real soon.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice gift to give yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that. All right. Well, anyway, there's a lot to see out there. Hopefully, someone in the chat said, it was at Torix, says hopefully pushing the deadline for the game actually alleviates the need for more crunch, and maybe that's why they're doing it. They have been heavily scrutinized for their use of negative crunch tactics toward the release of a game over there at CD Projekt Red, specifically with The Witcher Wild Hunt. That was a notorious example of people spending way too many hours and not really being too concerned about people's mental health, personal lives, family, overtime, that sort of stuff. So hopefully that's getting better. And by the way, I should say this right up front in today's show before I forget. There is a lot of stuff happening right now in the game space that is gnarly and rotten. A lot of really awful actors out there doing awful things, most of which have copped to it. Some have apologized, some have quit, some have been fired. As an example, the lead on the team for Assassin's Creed for the last 3 games, including the new one, is out for some pretty rancid behavior that came to light. Anyway, we're in another phase of a lot of that stuff hitting sunlight. And while I think that is a very good thing, ultimately in the long run, it's made for kind of a mushy week of, gosh dang it, dude, what the frick are we doing? Why are we still doing this stuff?
Right. It's hard to read, but it's important to read.
100% agree. You should go seek this stuff out.
And just the whole men being shitty. I missed all this. I know there's a bunch of comedians and movie stars. I missed this completely.
Well, they're always those guys. It seems like Hollywood's always churning somebody out. The worst one
is that the same thing like for the video game industry?
Oh yeah, similar stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah, douchebags being douchebags. Women finally feeling like they can say something about it. Some are, a decade-old experiences that they're now talking about because they were afraid to say anything before now, and just gnarly stuff. Some of it, lots of it accompanying with screenshots of some really shitty exchanges between people in power, people with money and influence in the game space specifically, saying some really rancid stuff, like just bleh. And it doesn't feel like we're done. And that's good, and it needs to come out, and that stuff needs to be cleaned up, and a lot of companies are already doing that. In fact, if anything's positive out of this last week, it's seeing game companies not clamming up, but like addressing it immediately and saying, all right, he's out. We're done. We didn't know this. As soon as it came to light, we fired this particular person. There's too many to name a bunch of names, so I'll let people seek it out and get what you want. But we're not going to talk a ton about it here, other than to say it's hard stuff, but it's important for you to see it and read it and hear it. And like we've been doing a lot of lately, listen to voices that aren't your own and, kind of see what the underbelly is doing, because it ain't good, and we deserve better as an industry to have less douchebags at the wheel sometimes. All right? All right.
Yeah, keep the douchebags in the Cyberpunk game.
Yes, keep them in there.
I want all the lowlifes in my Cyberpunk game for sure.
Well,
the scummier the better. The more greedy and realistic, like put them all in that game. That's where that belongs in the Cyberpunk.
It belongs in our fiction, not in our everyday work life. I can tell you that. So anyway,
sure.
that's a thing going on, and it sucks. But also, just a note: if you want to hear some expert opinions on that exact issue, I had my sister, who's a licensed therapist, on the show this morning on TMS, the morning stream, and we went deep into kind of the collective psyche of all this, why people do what they do, what happens when people do come forward. Do people dig in, or do they realize the errors of their ways? How much change can actually happen? Is this a tipping point? Is it not one? Like all that kind of stuff. If that has any interest to you at all, the back half of TMS today was all about that. So definitely check that out.
Take a listen.
Yeah, it was good.
We live in a time unparalleled in history. There's never been a Twitter.
No.
And it definitely has an influence. Like all of this stuff is definitely a factor, an important thing.
Yeah,
in all of this.
For sure. Plus, I don't know. There's a lot of women in the Frog Pants community that I really care about and do not want to see them ever. I don't want any of them to ever feel like this. It just seems terrible to me.
People shouldn't hurt other people.
And when these things come out, you sometimes, I mean, if you haven't, you're fortunate how close to your personal sphere some of these can actually hit. And you think like, oh, well, we operate very outside of that. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, you get hit by one and you go, oh no, it's right there. There's a lot of it. And it's important to hear it. It's important to think about it. Even if you're sitting there telling yourself, well, I'm not the guy. You might be surprised by reading the stories how you've been the guy and not realized it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to give credence to these things. And listen to people and support people who've been through it, because the unfortunate thing is for every, one that comes forward and says, here's what happened to me, more often than not, you hear about 4 or 5 that didn't come forward, but were also part of it, or don't feel like they could, or, are worried. And, you want to create an environment that will support people and make them feel welcomed and cared for and all of that. So it's important.
Totally agree. And the only other thing I would say is, even if you think you're not that guy and it turns out you're not totally that guy, you might have helped enable a guy without even knowing it. And it can be precarious and it can be weird and it can be hard. Trust me, I had firsthand experience with this almost a year ago next month with that whole Terpster thing. And that thing still stings. It's still really hard to deal with. None of this is easy, but sunlight on this stuff is important. And so support those who you can support, and know that we're trying to do our best too in our small little tiny way. All right. There will also be, this is exciting, I actually care about this.
You say that.
Yeah.
Then you're going to watch the intro and you're going to go, nah, it's not for me.
I think I might like it. Okay, so there's a Cyberpunk anime on Netflix called Edgerunners. It's produced by Bo's favorite studio, Trigger.
Studio Trigger.
I'm excited about this because I didn't know about it. And if it's like cyberpunky in the right way, I think I might be into it. But if they're a little mascot furry people and like some kind of old man who's dirty, I'm not in.
Well, hang on. Now, did you watch Kill la Kill? Did you ever end up watching it?
I can't remember if I did. Remind me.
It's the one where they have very skimpy clothes, like the clothes are living beings. And in order, they draw blood from the heroes, and of course, they're buxom women that are the characters.
Okay.
So when they're in their power suits, they have this crazy clothing armor, except in very. You're gonna feel maybe perverted watching it. Is what I'm trying to tell
sounds
you.
like, I don't think I did see it, and also it sounds like the kind of anime I would freaking hate. Are you saying it's like that?
Yeah, I think you're not gonna like the fact that it's made by Studio Trigger, because they're crazy and weird. But I really appreciate they have a sense of chaos about their story where it's ridiculous. Like they're always ridiculous, and like everything is extremes. And the characters are just and they yell and like in Kill la Kill, there's that weird masochistic guy where when he turns into his superpower suit, he's got like a ball gag and he's all strapped up and he gets more powerful the more you beat him until he explodes with talent and power. Like it's all Kill la Kill in particular is very like it's you're gonna find it problematic. I mean, even I do, but I enjoy it. But Gurren Lagann is a good mecha anime that they also did, and they get so extreme that the mecha becomes the size of several universes, and the final battle is they're standing on a universe throwing other universes at each other in these giant mechas, and it's like a mecha inside a mecha inside a mecha inside a mecha inside a mecha. Like it's like 15 mechas to make the universe mecha.
Okay.
And like the whole like it's got a lot of other aspects to it, but the one I appreciate is that they escalate farther than anybody else. Like every time it's like a story gets to the next level where it's like the stakes have been raised, and and you're always like, wow, they really raised the stakes. Like they just raised the stakes to 1 billion, and it's comical.
So,
and that's what I enjoy about it.
What'd you call that one? The mech one? What's the name?
Gurren Lagann.
Okay,
it's not a really weird name.
It's not the one with well, they're all weird. Like Kill la Kill. What is that even? That's like French for kill the kill or whatever.
Kill actually it means clothing, I think, in Japanese. It's not it sounds English, but it's not English at all. That's why it sounds
kill
weird.
Is clothes. Weird. All right. So what was I going to say? Oh, this isn't the one with the big mecha and it's got the little kid and he's the only one that can fly it and he's super sad all the time, is it?
No,
yeah, and it's older.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Also, most anime.
Gurren Lagann's the one with Kamina who says, "Who the hell do you think I am?" And then he goes, "Ah!" It's really good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
That sounds good the way you just described that.
You'll get a recommend I know from Kyle on that one.
Oh, okay.
Because Kyle and I like do little winky tweets at each other with these references and gifs.
Yeah.
I think John, you quite like that one too, right?
I've never seen it. No, I haven't. I haven't seen either of those.
So if I'm not an influence, like let Kyle's taste guide you. And Kyle's taste.
I like Kyle's taste.
That should be a product right there.
Yeah, Kyle's taste. Nothing wrong with Kyle's taste. The Evangelion thing. I mean, John's right. A lot of anime is a sad kid who is the one that has to save everything, right? And
my problem with that show is that I want to give it a try because here it's really good, but there's something about like that intro music and mechs. I'm just like, these guys are out of touch. Like I can't get through the intro. It's like, is it a saxophone? It's like beep 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 beep, and I'm like, I'm not in the mood for mecha. I'm in the mood for swing music or something. Like
that intro is so good. Oh, I love that intro so much.
Intros,
great.
Anime
it's
intros.
Amazing.
They're the worst. Anyway,
Evangelion's a weird show.
Yeah.
I don't know if I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
But it's on Netflix and you can watch it.
It's available. Anyway, so Edgerunners, it's out there and
no, 2022.
Oh, 2022. It's coming soon. But it's not an actual licensed Cyberpunk universe thing, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's official Cyberpunk. So,
it is.
Fun fact, Mike Pondsmith owns the trademark Cyberpunk, which was a pretty good get for pretty smart move. But yes, it's a licensed property. It's Cyberpunk TM.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't know why, but that makes it so I'm more likely to check it out.
I think we're going to see a lot of Cyberpunk. I think there's still more surprises too. I think we're going to see a lot of Cyberpunk in the next couple.
I think we're going to dive. Yeah, we're going to dive into. But there's already other signs of this. There's some other stuff out there that little indie games and things that are poking around in the space. I think there's going to be we're going to go through a phase of far future cyberpunky, Blade Runner-y kind of stuff. I think that's going to be the new thing for a bit, and I'm totally fine with that. And a lot of that will come from Cyberpunk 2077, and inspire a whole lot of people to sort of come along. So
I'm looking forward to the cheap knockoff games like Cyber Bro.
Cyberbro.
Cybertown.
Cybertown.
Cybertown on Facebook.
Yeah.
Cybertown.
Cyberville.
Cyber jerks.
Cyber boys. The boys of cyber.
Cyber boars.
Yeah. Cyber boars. That's even better. Let's get boars in there. The chat room says Cloudpunk looks good. Yeah, I saw that. I'm really curious about it because it sounds like a loop I'd actually like. It's just deliveries and then like a floating car in a really cool looking cyber town. And that's the most of the game. There's some story being told and a few other things, but the work you do in the game is, all right, we got to get this and we got to take it to this place across town. Make sure you talk to so-and-so or whatever. And then you do that. And I think it might be for me. I got to check it out. I need to see it.
Give it a go, man.
Yeah. It looks
I'm
really
curious
good.
too.
It looks really nice. So there's that.
I might pick up Frostpunk during the Steam sale, so we'll all play a game with punk in the title.
All right. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Oh my god.
Hey, wait, don't buy. Okay, while you're sitting there,
Do you have it?
I may have a code for Frostpunk.
Man, that'd be so good.
Wouldn't that be great?
I need to just ask you before I buy anything.
Yeah,
'cause
I get codes all the time, and so you should always ask.
I'll ask from now on.
Next time you'll ask. All right, let's see if I can find it. Frost. This is a fun thing to do on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you have any Griftlands codes?
No. But I love
Like,
Gristle.
We're asking, Scott, what other free shit you got for us?
Yeah, hold on. Let's just-
I love that game. So we're going to talk about it later. I
We'll
love
get
that
to
game
it,
in
I'm sure.
some really gnarly ways. I love that game so much. All right, John, I will check after the show because the search isn't working, but I think I have it. So don't buy it until we talk.
I will remember. As somebody who would be spending money, trust me, I will remember.
You will remember this. It's like an RPG. We just had a little conversation in Fallout Vegas, New Vegas, and you said you had a little John will remember this at the top of the screen.
Remember this.
Oh, that's great. So I don't have to. It's fantastic. All right. Also got announced this week. EA, well, since we last talked, EA revealed what is now being called Star Wars Squadrons. It is a great big cross-play single-player campaign plus multiplayer dogfighting Star Wars game. Many people who played all the old TIE fighters and X-Wings and all that are getting real excited, potentially. They don't know for sure. You got to play it to see. It looks amazing. It'll be on Steam. It'll be on Origin. It'll be on consoles. And it looks really nice. Like, looks amazing.
We talked a little bit about, because when we had our show last week, we had seen the cinematic for it, but no gameplay.
Yeah.
And I was a little skeptical. I would still say I'm a little skeptical, but I'm now sold on the look, that they're doing the right things as far as like the ships are going to be what I want them to be and how they control and pilot and all of that. The only part I'm not sure on is still definitely seems to be leaning very heavily multiplayer, I suspect. The way they talk about the single players, it's always, you'll start in the single player, which kind of makes me think that it's sort of the same thing that they did with Battlefield 2, where it's like, yeah, it's got a campaign, but it's not really about the campaign. And I think I said a little bit ago, I'm not in the mood to try hard on a game right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that would also apply to Star Wars Squadrons, but they did confirm on that gameplay that you would be able to go up against AI with friends or, with AI companions as well. And that all sounds great. So I'm excited that this exists. And if this leads to even more Star Wars piloting games, I'm all about it.
Me too. Bo, thoughts? Did you see it? Did you? The VR aspect probably got you excited. What do you think about all that?
The VR aspect's exciting, but I played TIE Fighter back in the day. I'm itching for a good game. I think I'm in agreement that I'm not looking for a multiplayer game in this front. Mm-hmm. But if it's really, I'm doubtful. It has the EA logo on it, and that's. That comes with all the baggage that it does.
It comes with some caveats, right? Like,
yeah. So, I'm cautiously optimistic. Looks very cool so far. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I think I'll definitely play that one.
I'm actually more excited than I thought I would be. I'm a big TIE Fighter X-Wing guy from way back in the day. I love those games. I've always been surprised that EA or whoever owns the rights to this LucasArts stuff didn't do more to bring that stuff to light sooner. It doesn't look like it's going to be so simmy as you might expect from some of those older games. It'll focus more on, just the fun of aerial combat and that sort of thing. Story seems interesting. You play two sides of the conflict. This all seems to be post Jedi, right? Post Return of the Jedi? Yeah. But not the new movies era. It's like just sort of right after that. So you have remnants of the Empire fighting the New Republic, or whatever they're called. They're called something now. What are they called? Oh, help me, Star Wars people. You're my only
the
hope.
Galactic Republic.
The Galactic fun bags. I don't know.
What are we talking about? Imperial Remnant versus
what
Galactic Alliance.
Is it the Alliance? No, they're called something now. Oh, what is it? And it's not just
the New Republic.
The New Republic. I guess that's it.
Is that it?
Oh yeah, that's definitely it. Because I remember thinking, I'm like, really?
Yeah. It's a little boring.
The New Republic.
Yeah, it's kind of a boring name, but that's Star Wars.
They were all new at one point.
Yeah, the Old Republic didn't get together and go, you know what we're going to name ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Old Republic. What do you think of that?
The one thing I like about it is they made a point about how everything you're going to unlock in the game, you do by playing it. They said that in the intro thing. I could tell they were emphasizing it to say, look, we know we have a bad reputation in the world of the microtransactions, and that we overdid it and we blew it in a bunch of ways on previous games, including Star Wars games. So just so you know. And then this lady, the narration, she's like, you'll unlock all these amazing skins and things simply by playing the game, she says. Now, whether that means there'll be a way to hurry that up by buying something, maybe, I don't know. But they don't have a great reputation that way, so your mileage may vary. But it looked really good, and I'm pretty excited about it, and I want to play it in VR.
One thing to add, I don't know if he's being funny, he or she is being funny, but Cyrenex in the chat, I don't know if you're kidding or if I'm about to ruin your life, but there's no B-Wings in this game. Yep. It's one of the kind of obvious left out ships because they're saying B-Wing is my jam. Mm-hmm. Well, sorry, we didn't see any B-Wings, not in the game.
No, there might be. Maybe they're not done, or who knows.
But a bobblehead. Yeah,
there was a what do you call it? They were showing some of the cosmetics, and one of them was a dashboard bobblehead of an Ewok. So that's cool, I guess, if you're into Ewoks. It seems neat. Like I say, I'm way more interested in what the story would look like and how the combat feels than I am about a multiplayer mode. But I won't lie. If the five of us were having some fun in here shooting dudes, I'm not gonna. That sounds great.
Yeah.
We got a squad.
Yeah.
We have a squad.
Squad's important. Mm-hmm. Is it 4 or 5? Yeah, 5 on a team.
Yeah.
And
5 on 5.
If some people don't want to join, if some people don't want to play, if we can't get our full TWBD crew, I bet we could get Garrett. Mm-hmm. I think we know some other Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Oh, Garrett.
Probably
totally
grab somebody.
Pretty much guaranteed Garrett is going to.
I suspect he might be excited about the game.
He may have pre-ordered it. He likes it so much. Anyway, Star Wars, still a thing, still a threat. What else? Pokemon is a MOBA now. Pokémon Unite. Hey y'all, you want to play a MOBA? Check it out, because Pokémon Unite is a MOBA, but with Pokemon in it. I don't really know what to think of this. So, John, your take. What do you think?
I think I might try it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really. Here's the thing. I don't want a MOBA right now.
Yeah.
For the same reasons we just talked about. But I do like Pokemon, and I have been known to like MOBAs, so I don't know. It's a neat idea. Yeah. Pokemon is great cannon fodder for a MOBA. You've got. I don't know how you basically decide who's hero units versus not. I don't know how it's all gonna work, but I'm kind of interested. I might try it.
Yeah.
It depends on what the barrier to entry is and all of that. It looks like it's gonna be a mobile game, it's Tencent, so it's gonna be them doing their version of a mobile MOBA.
Oh, which they've got some experience with. They do. They make a pretty good. I always forget the name of it, but it's that Reign of Champions or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, the one you like. Yeah. And it's gonna be on Switch. And I don't know. I think you might like it, Scott. I know you don't like Pokemon, but you liked that MOBA that they made.
I mean, I'm at this point. if it's a free to play thing, why wouldn't I try it? You know,
Yeah.
I give that stuff a shot. That game that I had talked about on mobile that I liked is a lot better on the Switch. So it'd be really cool if this ended up being on the Switch, especially with Nintendo's connection to the Pokemon company. So I would prefer a Switch version and stick controls and stuff. But I'll take what I can get. It's no PC version of this planned, I assume. Just a little mobile game. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll give it a shot. Totally down. Why not? Pokemon, bring it. It seems a little weird. All right. Yesterday, Patrick Beja and I watched that thing. What's it called? The Avengers thing. The Avengers presentation. You know that
Marvel's Avengers.
Marvel's The Avengers. No, it's just Marvel's Avengers, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And I'm really concerned. And also a little excited. It's weird because that game obviously has come a long way. It's essentially done because it comes out in September. So that game is for whatever it's worth is pretty much what you see them show is what we're going to get. They didn't do enough, in my opinion, to differentiate the art style or stylize it up enough to make it not seem Uncanny Valley and weird as compared to the faces we're used to in the MCU. I know that nobody can afford that. It's ridiculous, but I totally get why all of that happened. But here was my main takeaway. The whole first third of that presentation was Thor fighting a bunch of dudes on roofs or roofs. How do you say it? Roofs? Roofs. On the roof.
On various
roof-like surfaces.
Roofs.
Yeah.
It's with the V. It's roofs.
So my favorite part of all of that was, oh my gosh, they're making MODOK a major villain. Mm-hmm. That's brave and crazy. Like, I cannot believe they're going to do it. And that seems like a fun thing to mess with. And okay, bring it on. But my other takeaway from all the Thor fighting, or the forthighting, was that combat, specifically the combat with Thor, looked really repetitive and not very exciting. It looked very boring to me. And it looked very like, it's 2011. I don't know. Something about it just did not. I was the whole time going, ooh, I don't know, dude. And it seemed a little glitchy on the frame rates, and everything just seemed a little bad. Their presentation stream wasn't very great either. It was super chunky. Don't know what the problem was there. Anyway, it wasn't until later that I kind of started to glom onto it a little bit. The Warzone stuff they showed, the variation in the various characters and what they could do looked really good. Miss Marvel seems so unique compared to all the rest of them that she almost feels like she's in a different game. So that threw me a little bit, but that stuff looked better. On the whole, though, I remain really skeptical and concerned that game's going to be any good. So I don't know what to think. John, take. What's your take? Hot take.
I get mad every time they talk about this game. Yeah. I can't help it. This game is a pain point for me that I can't describe. It's irrational anger. It hasn't done anything to me. Yeah. Like, its existence doesn't come in and ruin my life in any way, but it makes me so angry. I agree with everything you said, Scott. I think it looks generic and boring as hell. Let me be clear up front, I guess. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get an awesome killer Marvel game. I love that universe. I love those characters. I love everything about it. And I would love to play a video game as it. So I am not rooting for this game to do poorly. But it is the ugliest game I have ever seen. I cannot stand the way this game looks. It makes me mad every single time. It looks generic. It looks just exceedingly lame. And that is such a bummer because the stuff they're doing with Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel, she's one of the best characters they've put in Marvel Comics in a long time. And her stuff looks great. Putting her story front and center is super cool, and I want to play it, except for all the parts that are the actual game bum me out. I love the voice cast. I think the acting's going to be really good in it. But just once you start playing the game, I start to go, well, this looks generic. Like you said, it looks like it's a game from about 10 years ago. And it's like that was the first thing they came up with way back in the day, and they haven't changed anything since as video games evolved around it. MODOK is another crazy thing. Like, that's such a crazy pull from the comic books, and you see the stuff they're taking out of the comic books, and you're going, well, you guys are clearly looking at comic books. How in the world did you miss out on the art that's in comic books that makes up 50% of what a comic book is, and just come up with these bland Second Life looking characters for all these characters?
Whoa.
It looks
Deep cut.
it looks so bad. It looks like not only Second Life, but if you saw somebody wearing those costumes in Second Life, you'd be like, yeah, they found a way to, I guess, pass off that they're that character.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go as far as say they look Second Life, because Second Life looks real bad. But I understand what you're saying, and I think you're probably right. It makes me feel like the game, I don't know. It makes me, when I see the gameplay itself, it makes me think either that better feel amazing. What he's doing with Thor right there, that better feel so good in my hands. Or I'm not playing this, because that's so repetitive. How many mini bosses was it? How much time do you have to spend on that roof and that chaos? Like, it just looked like it was going to be, I don't know, like watching, I can't use Armageddon because I kind of like Armageddon, but, just a loud, dumb action movie. Take one of the newer, I don't know. Terminators, sure.
Terminator Salvation. Or even better, I actually kind of like Salvation. Is that the one with Christian Bale? I don't know. I don't remember.
It's all right.
They all have dumb names now.
It's all dumb. But okay, you know what? Transformers movies. I know some people love those, but hear me out. Part of the problem with those movies is they're big, impressive, loud messes that aren't very good, because all they are is loud and messy, and they miss subtlety, they miss character, they miss all that stuff. And I feel like I'm looking at one of those, and I'm worried about that. Also, they tried so hard to make sure these characters don't look like the actors, because that's really expensive to do that. So they have to make them not look like them. If I were them, I would much rather have said, all right, well, since we can't do that, let's not try to make everything look realistic and like mannequin time. Let's go stylistic with this a little bit. Let's lean closer to the comics. I really wish they would have done that. And they could have, and they didn't. Instead, they went, hey, what if, we go for Mass Effect-like visuals from 2008 and slap a green guy in there that can fight everybody. Like, I don't know. It just bums me out, that kind of stuff. So I think I'm more on your side than ever, but there is something about the cooperative experience I see later in that presentation that made me go, ooh, okay, those are the things we wanted out of Anthem. Anthem didn't deliver. I like third-person cooperative games like that. Like, this looks like there could be some fun here. The unlocks looked really neat. The skin work looked good. Like, that video is strong toward the tail end. It kind of blows at the top, which seems like a weird thing.
I think that's why I get so mad, is because you can see such a clear, like, there's never been a more obvious, like, this could work and this could be something amazing. Like, the property than the Avengers. I mean, look at what the movies do. Look at how hyped people are about that. We live in a world where you can say Thanos to just about everybody on the street, and people know what that is.
Yep.
And that's crazy to me. Even when I was into comic books, I barely knew who Thanos was until I started digging way deep. So it's nuts, and it's just weird to me that I'm this disappointed in this, because it's something that should be so obviously exciting.
Yeah. Plus, I did notice this whenever they would show gear pop up and stuff, or show stats on gear. They're basically like gear cards from Destiny. It looks the same. So obviously they're going for gear score. That may or may not excite people. For me, it makes me go, oh, so it'll be like Destiny unlocks then. Okay, that's fine. But I can't get that excited about it. It sort of just bums me out a little bit. Her abilities, though, as Ms. Marvel, badass, dude. Those look great. If there's one standout, like, visual in the game, it's how cool she looks with her big fat fists and her swinging it around and taking 15 dudes out with them and stuff. Like, it really sets her apart, makes everybody else look stiff and lame, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Also, I guess they got the Thor Dr. Blake thing going on. Which I guess is a deep cut for comic readers. Like,
it is. But it's a lame deep cut. Like,
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Like they're gonna, but I guess what I'm saying is they're aiming for some fan service. You know, a lot of the alternate skins look like stuff from like, oh, here's Ditko's version of the Avengers, or here's
you got Gangster Hulk, Gangster Gray Hulk. You know, there's stuff in there for super fans, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's an alternate costume in there that makes the characters not look like trash. So,
yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm watching it again as we're talking, and it's just.
And they have clearly tried. If you go back and look at the first footage of this game, you will think, oh, John was being kind with his Second Life comparison. They have improved them dramatically, but it's still bad.
I think what it reminds me of is like watching one of those old, what are the Microsoft games? They had a third one that didn't do very well. They had
Crackdown.
Crackdown. I get a Crackdown vibe out of it, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean like, hey, remember what it was like to have a dude that sort of could jump around a city and then pound on a thing until it died and then do it again and get some collectibles while he's around. Like that's the vibe I'm getting. I don't think that's what I want. I hope I'm wrong. Look, I hope we are all blown away come September. I hope that we start getting reviews back and people are like, oh my gosh, you guys, we were wrong. This game is the next thing. It'll be playing for years and we'll all love this. And that'll be great. But right now, not feeling it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Bo, any other thoughts on the Avengers?
Yeah, no. You guys covered it.
You're good. You're good.
I don't care about this game. It's not going to be good.
It's not going to be your jam.
Bo's made up his mind. He's ready.
Yeah.
If you're going to try this hard to convince us, then, gut check. There's lots of great games out here. It might be middle of the road. If you really like Avengers, then you might like, it probably might be a must buy, but.
Well, there's some people like
great games.
That's the kind of game that like Brian Ibbett, he'll buy this day one just because he loves the Avengers and it doesn't matter what it is. So for those people, you're going to get this. For the rest of us, we're going to be a little more. I don't know.
I am those people, and I'm not going to get it.
Yeah, that's true. You
All
are
right,
those
we get
people.
it, John. You're like, no, but listen, this game is so bad.
Seriously, though, it's a game for me.
We haven't even played it yet. We got to be.
We have to have some. Yes, we have to have some open-mindedness about it because who knows until we get it. But
yes,
it might have a lot of heart, kid.
I hope. I really do. I would love for this game to be good. I would be so stoked. I would be on this show going, oh my gosh, you guys, I was so wrong. Like I was about that Jedi Fallen Order game, which I complained nonstop about until it came out and then went, holy crap, that game is actually really good. I stand by the main character sucking. He still sucks. It just turns out the game was good enough to make up for it.
All right.
There you go.
Still don't like him, huh? Not a fan of that kid?
He's fine. I mean, he's based on a real person. I don't want to disparage an actual human being, but it
just wasn't exciting. You didn't look at him and go, "Wow, I'm excited to play that character." Like you look at the Cyberpunk guy with all of his stuff gear installed, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I want to play this guy." Or Blizzard character, it'd be Thrall.
Yeah.
There's just not. I don't feel that from any of the Avengers. I'm not like, man, I can't wait to play as Thor. And it's not because I wouldn't want to, because I love Marvel movies and comics.
Yeah.
It's just that game doesn't sell it at all. There's no sizzle in the fantasy of playing as these characters right now.
For me, I was saying to Patrick, if Thor's hammer behaves the way it does in God of War, the way his axe did, then I'm slightly more interested. But the whole point of this game, I hope anyway, is that all the characters are really diverse and they all play very differently from each other. And that's interesting if they can pull it off. But if none of them are fun to play on their own, then what are we doing? I don't know. We gotta wait and see. But I have a lot of people I trust with reviews and thoughts and feelings. When this thing comes out, they'll get a chance to play it. Maybe we'll get codes. Who knows? We'll give it a fair shake. But right now, none of us are too stoked. The Steam summer sale is here to take all your money. It already took 10 of my dollars. That's not a lot, but turns out they have. Speaking of freaking your Star Wars game and Respawn Entertainment, they have Titanfall 2 on there for $9.
So you already have that on Origin, though, right?
No, I have it on
$10 to not have to open Origin.
No, I have it on PlayStation. I have it on PlayStation. I don't have it on.
Oh, okay.
I don't have it on PC. So that game though, I love that game. That is one of my favorite first-person shooters ever made. Campaign-wise, easily one of the best shooters ever made. And now that EA's like, all right, fine, put all our shit back on Steam. I'm really happy to see that one there, and I'm really happy to see it so cheap, and it's only on sale for a bit, so go get it if you never played it. It is amazing, and it looks like a game that came out today. Like, it is a beautiful, freaking, incredible experience. One of the best FPSs ever made. So there it is, Titanfall 2. Go get it. $9, $9.99 or whatever it is right now. And I think it'll go up to, I don't know, $49 or whatever the normal price is. So now would be the time to get it.
I have a question.
Go.
I just want to pose it because if anybody runs into this and they email us about it, I think it would be neat. You think there's going to be any people that got into Apex Legends and didn't know anything about Titanfall, and they get this Titanfall 2 game and go in there and go, wow, that's wild. It's got all the guns from Apex Legends in it.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, because they're in the same universe.
Yeah.
That would be funny. It was your first exposure was Apex Legends, and then you see this. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people like that, right? There's got to be a bunch of players like that.
Titanfall games.
Yeah, so you'd see
I'm aware that they're in the same universe, though, so it won't be a surprise.
But man, the wall running, the freaking, your mech, it's for $10. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. Like, that's
good. It's really, really solid.
That's like them giving it away for free for $10. It's ridiculous.
I remember an interview with them a while back when the game first came out, and I think they said that they basically just brainstormed levels that they thought would be cool in a shooter, and then designed all those levels and then tried to find a connective tissue to make one lead into the other. So it's basically just people coming up with the best stages they could, and then like a flimsy reason to move between them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's a fair way.
That's a great way to approach it, actually.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that when they're, you're just like gameplay first and then whatever, let's fit it all around. That's amazing.
It's pretty cool. So recommend it. It has mechs, and it's a cool take on mechs. Like, I don't know, this mechs, you'll call a mech down, he'll land, and then his job is to come over and grab you with his hand, open up his chest, and then set you inside the cockpit and shut the chest. What a great way to board a mech, you know? Like, who wants to go, like in Battletech, you're like, okay, I got to climb all this scaffolding and do the whole, like we're launching a freaking spaceship to get inside of a mech. No, this mech reaches down, picks you up, and shoves you in its chest. That's just badass. Love it. Anyway, tons of sales, all kinds of stuff. So go. That launched today, right? Was that today?
Yeah. It started today.
As usual, nothing on there really jumped out too much at me because either I own it or.
I'll tell you one part of the Steam thing that's jumping out at me.
What's that?
It's not the sale, but apparently I've got 26,000 of these Steam points.
Yeah, they've started a whole like currency thing that they have a point shop for. It's like cosmetics for your profile. Nothing.
I'm shopping while we do the show, and I now have an animated border and some animated backgrounds, and I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah, it's all cosmetic stuff.
Border
account stuff.
Cosmetics.
Yeah, or if you're playing Dota 2 or you're playing any of the Valve games, a lot of that stuff you can get little trinkets and crap for that. Doom Eternal has some things in there that you can unlock and do.
Yeah, it has like the chat stuff.
Yeah.
There's some really like shady like stuff in here though. There's a thing called the Summer Golden Profile, which costs 5,000 points.
Yeah.
And it basically blings you out in gold as being like, oh, check out how much points they had. They had so many points. And there's a little disclaimer down at the bottom that says the Summer Golden Profile lasts for 30 days from time of purchase. You only get to show it for 30 days.
Yeah, that's lame.
And it costs more points than anything else.
Yeah. They remind me, you know what this is? It's like going to an arcade and getting a bunch of tickets and then spending them on plastic shit. That's what this is.
Yeah. I did it though. I blinged out I got a cool neon frame.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you mouse over my portrait, I got a little swirling Nexus thing around my stupid face. Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can see Bo. He's got his blue portal border right there. He's got swirly stuff. It's, we're all doing it.
It has some charm. I mean, everybody does this stuff, but it's nice to see Steam gamifying their. I mean, it really depends on you buying things to get these tickets, but hey, whatever.
I got a ton of points for, like, I'm surprised. I don't think I've purchased that much.
I think they went into like your purchase history or.
Oh yeah, they don't.
I don't know how it all worked because I had a lot of points. I spent some points and I still have 36,000 points.
Let's see. I'm gonna take a look at what I got going.
You got a lot more than I do. I have 26,000.
So if you click on the main banner, you get all this points thing. How do you know where your points are?
It says
Oh.
the
Like right on the homepage,
There it
that
is.
summer sale postcard on the bottom right
your
shows the
points. Yeah, bottom right.
I have 50,512 points. I should probably spend
That
them.
sounds about right.
Yep.
I should spend those.
Oh man,
Spend
Phantom
those.
Pain is $9. Oh Jesus, Jeez, Murphy.
Yeah, but what is the fact that it's
I don't have time to play all these games. That's the hard the part now where it's just like, yeah, all these games are super affordable, but it's like I want to buy it, but I know I'm not going to play it.
Dude, Phantom Pain is good. It's cool. It's some of the coolest stealth in games. I don't know. I'd be tempted by that one if I didn't already have it. That's my problem is I've already got most of these, and the ones that are the deepest cuts anyway, and then the ones that aren't the deepest cuts or the deepest price cuts, I'm like, maybe hold off. I don't have time for that right now. Titanfall 2 was a no-brainer. It was like, of course, for $10 I'm buying that. Actually, John, where did you end up getting Invisible Ink? Was it on this sale?
no, I had it.
Oh,
I
you
just
already had it, never played it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's
Children of Morta, yeah.
that game's good.
Good character.
That game's good.
Like my wish list. Oh, it's on fire.
Children of Morta is
Dicey
very
Dungeons
good.
is $8.
Yeah, there's lots of that kind of stuff.
Shadow Tactics $6. Oh my gosh.
Shadow Tactics $6. I'm playing their new game, but Shadow Tactics for $6 we are ripping them off when you buy it that cheap. That's amazing. That's a great game. Oh my gosh, Shadow Tactics is so good. Can't wait to talk about Desperados. We'll get to it. But do you guys remember back in I don't know when I talked about this, like November of last year or something, how excited I was. Like, yeah 2020 is great, but man, one of the games no one's talking about is Desperados 3. It's the one I want the most, and it finally happened. Oh. All right, we'll get to all that in a sec.
We'll get there.
Mixer's gone. No more Mixer. They're done. They announced kind of unceremoniously that they are shutting down. They told everybody, hey, you could go over to Facebook Gaming, which landed like a bit of a turd to most people.
You think?
Yeah.
What a bad suggestion.
The talk is that Ninja, who made $30 million to go to Mixer, and that all
we
got
know the amount now.
Oh yeah,
$30 million.
$30 million.
Holy.
Shroud got 11. It's a lot less, but anyway, still a lot of money. Those guys made a crap ton of money on the deal. They got paid for their contracts in full, and Facebook Gaming reportedly, and again, I don't know if this has been confirmed, but I've heard this from a bunch of sources. Facebook Gaming offered to double Ninja's take to $60 million if he went over to Facebook Gaming.
What?
He said
nobody was worth that much watching video games.
No, if they were, they would have brought enough audience over to Mixer. Mixer would have gotten what they paid for, and they didn't. So they made a bet that at least these two names, two of the biggest names in streaming, were going to bring a ton. We're going to just carve off a bunch of people from Twitch, and they were going to make it so it'd be enough for Mixer. It didn't work. Now I know Facebook's got endless money, so maybe they don't care. It's just throwaway for them, but Ninja said no. So did Shroud. They're like, no, we're not.
No, Facebook is a death. Like it's already in the crosshairs of the government for other reasons.
Yeah, it's a bad place to be. It's a bad place to be. Plus, it just feels super sellouty. I mean, as if the Mixer move didn't already feel like a sellout. But the other thing is, the rift between Ninja and Twitch has never really healed. So the thinking is, Ninja goes to YouTube and does something there with live streaming and all his. He's already doing YouTube stuff, and then Shroud comes back to Twitch. Is probably what will
Ninja
happen.
needs to do his own site now. When you're like rolling in $30 million, like.
Well, see, I suggested this the other day at DTNS, and they were all laughed at me, and I'm like, well, I mean, it seems reasonable if they wanted to.
Popular YouTubers are doing it. There are a lot of people who are once they achieve a certain level of fame, they move from YouTube and they bring their content to their own sites and put it behind a paywall.
If they do their own,
he's networked enough, he could put together a whole group of streaming and get everybody into his own service.
Yeah, but if he did his own, okay, I'm with you if he does his own thing where it's just him. But if he's going to make a platform for streamers, $30 million is not enough money. There's not enough.
No, probably
not own platform. I just mean ninja.com. You want to see
I could see that.
There, all
sure.
that kind of business.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean,
I could see that. I don't know what that. See, the problem is though, So they've already, but technically you've already tested the theory. If the theory is everyone goes where Ninja goes, they didn't. Not enough.
So it would fail. Actually, you're right. Actually, it's probably not a good idea. Now that I think about it.
You want to be where gamers are for all the other stuff. Like the example I heard on some show somewhere. I don't remember where I heard this. Maybe I don't remember. But somebody was saying this is a lot like music. It's like your favorite musician in the world is on YouTube exclusively with a Vimeo account or whatever. And then
you know what? That's just. Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. And the point is, if they leave, the idea is that I'm going with him. No matter what. But what really happens is people go, well, there's all my other music's here, so I'm good. I'll stay here. You know what I mean? Or I'll do both if that other thing's free. Oh, it costs money? Well, no, I'll just stay over here. Like, I just don't think people... I think that was the test with Mixer, and it failed. It didn't work.
I think we're looking at this through the wrong lens because we're looking at it like you need to be that successful. Like that actually matters to sustain that forever.
Right.
Because like I think about, and you mentioned the music industry, and I think about bands like Radiohead who have took their stuff out of the industry, and Pearl Jam who refused to go through Ticketmaster.
Right.
And they did suffer in popularity, but I'm sure if you talk to them, they're not unhappy about their choices. And maybe Ninja, after making a cool 30 million, like, are you addicted to having that many people watching you, or are you kind of cool with something more modest and something more that maybe you want to do? Like having your own site isn't about. It shouldn't be about I'm going to have an even bigger audience and more, because when he makes his own site, it's just going to be like I don't have to worry about anyone else, and if I have 10% of the audience I have, that's better than 100% of the bullshit on those platforms.
Yeah.
And so I think it actually still is a good move. I mean, it's the Scott Johnson move, right? Mm-hmm. Frogpants.com. You've got your own home on the net where you've got all your stuff.
Yeah, but
and
it put it out.
You don't need to have the whole world knowing who you are to have a career.
You're right. You can have you're right. That is absolutely true. But here's the thing I would do if I was Ninja, because you're talking so much more money. If you're talking $30 million and I was Ninja, I say this, it's easy to say this when you're not there, but this is really truly what I believe. That is a really high pressure, kind of a nasty world a little bit. And he's talked many times about how this stuff can really get to you, and you got to work on your life balance and, all that other stuff. He's made a big point of it. And I agree with him. If I had $30 million from this deal and this break was happening, I might consider, I'm pushing early 30s. Maybe I'll just invest this money and just do what I freaking want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure,
like, retire.
You don't have to keep going. In fact, leave them wanting more. Just say, you know what, guys? I'm retired. I'm done. I made my money. I'm going to go see the world, or I guess right now you can't as much, but, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to invest my money, and guess what? I'm going to play a bunch of video games when no one's looking at me.
Crazy.
Right?
Unheard of.
Right?
It takes its toll. It looks like fun, I think, to people who watch, and because a lot of people are there entertaining or they're playing the game, but it's draining.
It's super draining. It's draining for me, and I don't do it like they do it. It's draining for me to have multiple shows on a day. I'm mentally drained sometimes at the end of the day. I do it to myself, but there's a real question about that. And when you have that much scrutiny and that many eyeballs and that many people who know who Ninja is, and they just are completely just laser focused on everything you do, that's a lot for a person. And sure, you can say, well, I'm sure he can dry his tears with his dollars he has piled up to the... I get it. I understand. He's all right. But if it were me, I would consider... I always say this about like famous musicians that just keep working until they've plastic surgery themselves to death. They just can't stand not being in the limelight. It wouldn't be me. Like if I was Kenny Rogers, I'd take that gambler money and left town. I would have said, hey, look at all the money I got from The Gambler, that song I made that was so popular. I'm good now. I don't need Kenny Rogers roasters. I don't need to do $6 billion in facial reconstruction surgery. I mean, rest in peace, Kenny Rogers, but you know what I mean? Like, who needs it? So then what you end up with is you're like 75 going, all right, you guys, we're going to play classic Fortnite now. Like, just go have your life. That's what I would do. Anyway.
Yeah, that sounds wise to me.
Yeah, it's just my own little take. All right. So anyway, that's the thing, and good luck. All right. According to John, the best thing to come out of the second best Star Wars prequel was Episode 1 Racer, or the Pod Racer game, right? Is that the one, the pod racing game?
Yeah, I mean, the exact stat I used was the best thing to come out of the second best Star Wars prequel, all based on the second best scene in that movie, is now on Switch and PS4.
Wow, you really thought so much about this.
I did.
So, pod racing is the best thing? It's
No,
not Darth Maul?
No, the best thing.
Yeah.
I guess I should have said game.
Okay.
Or no, I guess what I should have said is the best, physical product. You know,
Okay.
like the best thing that came out of it.
Best
Not-
physical product.
Oh, the best thing that
not
that
like
emerged.
A character.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
yes.
the best thing that emerged as a result of the thing. Okay.
Thing was vague, I guess.
Okay.
I agree then. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
So the best tie-in product thing to come out of the second best Star Wars prequel, all based around the second best scene in that movie, is now on Switch and PS4.
Well, I wonder how my nephew feels about it. Sorry, I just noticed my nephew joined the chat. Hey, Owen. His name is Owen. He's a super cool
Hi,
kid. Sones of Anarchy. I think it's his dad's account, but his last name is Sones, so they come up with this great name, Sones of Anarchy. Anyway, I was talking to him the other day. He was asking about when I stream, and he wanted to get in here and do it. And I told him a lot of times it's just shows, sometimes it's games. So it's nice to see you, Owen. He probably has an opinion about the whole ninja thing, mixer thing. I don't know, but it's the kids, man. It's the kids. They're going to be the ones that change it all. All right. Anyway, episode 1 racer. Are you going to get it, John? Are you going to pick this up because that's just how you are? That's how it'll be?
No, I don't want to pay for it again. I would play it again if it was in front of me. It was a very fun game, but I beat Sebulba in the Bunta's Eve Classic.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it again.
Good Lord. So is this the arcade one, or is this the one that showed up on N64 and stuff? Which game is this? Because
I don't know. I need to look at that because there is a difference. I would imagine it's based on the N64 one, but I would think that it would be the up-resed version.
Yeah.
Let me look.
It did look a little crappy, but
Well, sure.
like of its era, I mean, and it made me not very like I didn't find it appealing. I was like, oh, they didn't update the graphics a little bit.
It looks like it's based on the N64.
Okay, that's what Sidian was saying in the chat. So it's N64 up-res resolution. It would have to be because that thing was a blurry mess. I don't know. I liked it. I remember liking it. I think it was cool. It's actually one of my favorite things about the prequels as well. There's a few things about the prequels that were very cool Star Wars things. Pod racers. If you take out Jake Lloyd's horrible acting and that Sebulba guy that wanted to sell everybody, or what's his name? Not him. The one that was
I'll
give you a good deal.
Watto?
Watto. I hate
Watto's
Watto.
fine.
Hate Watto. Oh my gosh, I hate him. Sebulba's fine. He's just like a weird alien. That whole thing is great. And then Darth Maul is a great villain, and they screwed up by killing him off in the first prequel. For the rest of the prequels, that was a bad mistake. He should have been kind of your villain to kind of grow and advance throughout that whole thing. But anyway, those two things, amazing. The rest of it, not great. I know John Bond. I know Bo, you still love
I love my prequels.
You love your prequels, and I don't. This is no slight.
I think it was
against
just
you.
a time in my life. I just think it's just a good time in my life, and I love those movies.
Yeah.
Like they're bad. Like I see what everyone else sees, but I still love them. I think they're great.
Fair enough.
Well, one thing to keep in mind here is that you don't have to play as Lil Annie in this game. You can play as other pod racers. And I just want to point out there were some quality other pod racers that we didn't know about. You got Ben Quadraneros, I think his name is. He's got 4 arms.
Okay.
Or he's got lots of arms. That's great.
So there's one.
There's this guy, Team Toe Peglis. He's great.
Team Toe Peglis. Okay.
He
Got
looks
it.
great. I'm going to share an image with you, Scott, because when I was looking up pod racers so I could say all their names, I found this picture, and it has a really great caption underneath it for Rats Tyrell.
What is this guy?
Oh, that's somebody. He gets into an accident in the movie. He hits a rock.
There's a rock in front of him, and he goes, and it blows him up.
Wait, his name is Rats?
Yeah, Rats Tyrell.
Terrell moments before his violent demise.
I think he was in Mr. Robot, wasn't he?
Oh,
He is my favorite. Rats is definitely my favorite pod racer because he's the one that does the little scream right before he dies. What a terrible way that poor guy goes out.
Wow.
He explodes.
Oh yeah, and the two-headed announcer is a really bad thing. Like, there's so much about that that's bad. But
That's Greg Proops that does the voice for that. It's so distinct too. It takes you out of the movie.
Sucks.
His voice is so like recognizable.
Sucks. Not a fan. All right. Anyway, that's out now. Is it? Is it out now?
It's out now.
Out now.
Brown
Okay.
cow.
Well, how's that? I wonder how that's reviewing. I assume it's probably okay. A lot of nostalgia for that, so probably all right. Okay. For some reason, this deleted one of the games I'm playing. Why?
I watched you delete it. What'd you do?
I don't know. I must have drug the mouse funny. Or I thought maybe you took it out because you hate the name so much. I'm not sure. I'll find out next when we talk about the games we played. Just kidding. John would never do that. All right, so I get to finally talk to you about Desperados 3. I will admit not to have played 1 or 2 or the tabletop game that it's all based on. All I knew about 3 was when it was announced that the IP was picked up by THQ Nordic, who has been putting out a bunch of games based on those acquisitions, and so far done pretty well for themselves. This game in particular is created by a company called Me, which is a terrible name for your company. Me.
Sounds like they asked Beaker what they should name their video.
Yeah, Beaker, what should be the name of our company?
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's basically
Put
what
it
happened.
down. Take it down.
Unless I'm not spelling or saying it right, but it's like me. Anyway, they made Shadow Tactics.
Like opera singer rehearsing.
Oh,
me.
me, like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a car going by. Me, like that.
Yep.
It was a Doppler effect I did there. Anyways, so this company who made Shadow Tactics, we were talking about a minute ago because it's on sale on the Steam sale. An amazing game, a real-time tactics strategy / stealth game, top-down view game that's a lot like the Commandos games of the 90s. If anyone out there ever played Commandos 1 through 3, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You have a crew, sometimes a full crew, sometimes less, but you have, in the Commandos games, they were World War II guys. One's like a bomb specialist. The other one can do snipey stuff. Another one's like really strong and can carry 2 bodies at once and put them in the bushes after he's conked their heads together, but other people can't do that in the group, and so on. That's the lineage of what these games are. Shadow Tactics was also that, except it was set in feudal Japan. It was all about shoguns and ninjas and all that. And they did the same sort of setup, and it's that is an amazing game. People should play it. It came out in 2016. This game, which was the next thing they worked on, is based on the property, but I don't know how much the gameplay resembles it, and it doesn't matter to me because what they've made here is one of these again that plays like Commandos, that plays like Shadow Tactics, except you're in the Old West, and you're not just in the Old West, you're in the Old West that I love, which is just a little exaggerated, not too historically accurate. It's all about people that are, he done took my horse. That was the last time I saw him because my gun did talking for me. Baby, that kind of stuff. Like it's super spaghetti Western, tough talking cowboy bullcrap. And you're this team. One guy's got a giant trap on his back that he lays down. His name is Hector. He's from Mexico, and he can lay down this huge trap and trap people when they walk into it. You got the main dude. His name is Cooper, and he's just a regular old slick-talking cowboy who's great at, shooting and knifing people and stuff like that. You got a girl named Kate, and Kate is great at, like, distraction, and she has this perfume thing that can, like, knock out people and make it so they can't see very far because you have a lot of vision cones to worry about and all this stuff trying to do it. Everything you do in that game, every mission, every obstacle is basically a puzzle of sorts, and it encourages you to autosave a bunch, or not autosave, but quick save a whole bunch, and then make attempts, try differently this time. Oh, didn't work. Reload F8, brings you right back to where you were. Try it from this angle. Oh, okay, that totally worked. Let's save again. Like they want you to do that, although there's a hardcore mode, but you have limited saves, so they give you a range. But the normal mode's just pretty normal. Anyway, it's difficult. It's really rewarding when you can pass through stuff. Sometimes infuriating because you get so stuck. Like right now, I am hardcore stuck in a thing where it's at night, it's raining. There's sniper guys on towers, and these are old school like Western snipers, like crappy single shot, crappy scope kind of stuff. This isn't high end stuff, so you have to do weird things there. You got this. Oh, I forgot about this guy named McCoy. He's kind of mysterious. and he does weird stuff like throws a satchel out in the middle of the dirt, and if one of the guards sees it, he'll get curious and come over and open it up, and it'll like explode in his face. And while that's happening, you sneak up behind him and needle him in the back, basically like I don't know, Dexter style, and knock him out, and then drag him to the bushes, tie him up, and leave him in the bushes. Just if you like stealth and you like figuring out how to get into a place and accomplish that mission from lots of angles and lots of ideas and opportunities, and there's no set way to do it. It's just a sandbox in a way for you to figure out. This game is so all of that, and I love it.
I got questions for you,
All
Scott.
right, go ahead.
So traditionally, you have not been super into games that are punishing, and it sounds like this game is to some degree. I know you said it has the quick save and the quick load, so you're using that. But I know traditionally, you've said, I don't like games that are just, super hard for hard's sake.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't think you were much of a stealth guy, but this seems to be scratching both those itches, and you're responding really strongly to it.
Yes, and I, for the record, love stealth games. Maybe it depends on which one we're talking about, but I love the Sam Fisher games back in the day. I love Mark of the Ninja by Clay Entertainment is one of my favorite games. They've made 2D stealth work somehow, and I just absolutely love that game. I love the Assassin's Creed games, and I play them stealthily, even the newer ones. Like, you can play those very differently these days, but I love to sneak up and slowly take a camp out. Is one of my favorite things to do in Assassin's Creed, even the latest one. Give me a whole fortress full of 50 dudes, and I just start going, all right, let's go, let's settle in, let's see what we can do, and one by one picking dudes off, totally my jam, and then hiding their bodies and nobody can see me. I love that.
Boy, do I have a game for you later on.
I'm nervous about this because I think I know what you're going to tell me, and it's actually that might actually be really good for me, but I mean, we'll get to that in a sec. This whole thing is this isometric view. It's beautiful. It looks like the Old West. In some ways, it's ridiculous. The tutorial's really good. It tells you what you have to do. In a lot of ways, though, you could argue this game is Shadow Tactics with a skin. There's some other improvements, though, definitely, like gameplay improvements, some mechanical improvements that they've definitely learned since Shadow Tactics. But in a lot of ways, this is scratching the exact itch, but just in feudal Japan, and this is in the Old West. I'm not saying that's a negative thing.
If you like that skin better, you're going to respond very strongly to it.
Oh, very much so. Like, this is Shadow Tactics is a game that I love. This is a game that I want to hump its leg like a dog.
Okay. Yep.
That's how much I love it.
Worried where that might go, and it went exactly where I thought, as it turns out.
I love it. I absolutely love it, and I can't recommend it enough. I don't know. I haven't asked anybody who's watched me stream it, but I've been streaming it, and people haven't really said, but I wonder if it's annoying to watch because it is a lot of trial and error and a lot of sort of, this didn't work. I better try this. I better, it's a lot of like quick save, go back, quick save, go back, quick save, like a lot of that. So it may be annoying from a spectator perspective, but I've been having fun with the chat rooms where they're like, all right, well, what if you hit that guy in the head first and then simultaneously do this other thing? And there is a lot of that. Shadow Tactics had it as well, but this game is really good at, like, have your two very different characters, if you're doing two in a mission, for example, have them do a thing at the exact same time. And that's how you're going to solve this problem. If you try to do it with an individual character, you're never going to get it done because someone will see it happen. So that means I got to knock him out and stab that guy at the exact moment that they're crossing. There's some timing going on. They have this really great feature in this game they didn't have in Shadow Tactics where you hold down X and the camera speeds up. So a lot of things are on patrol, and you need to kind of learn the pattern so you know what you can do while the guy's looking that way or while he's coming this direction. So they give you this X button to just sort of hold, and it speeds that motion up so that you can quickly get through a loop of it and go, oh, yeah, that's right. He comes around before he shows his face. Okay, I'll remember that next time. So you never feel like you're waiting for something. Like, it gives you some nice tools that way. And then maybe the coolest feature that's not really that crucial, but a nice add-on, when you finished a mission, and some of these took me 4 hours to beat a mission. Like, they were complicated, but so satisfying. Anyway, when I would finally finish it, maybe 3 hours is closer to true, but at the end, you get this huge zoomed out version of the map, and a whole bunch of little dots. The red ones represent bad guys. The little blue and yellow one are you and your two characters that you're controlling. These are all it's all single player, by the way. There's no multiplayer in the game. And it lets you speed up or slow this down, but it's basically a replay, and it shows little icons pop up every time you saved. It's like a little disk drive when you saved. Another one pops up where it shows you made a kill and with what weapon, and it just kind of shows you this replay from this bird's eye view. And it's so much fun to watch. And you can see where you got hung up and where you had to save a whole bunch. And the time really got you stuck there. But then when you finally passed it, you whip through that section. Like, it's just it's cool. And you can zoom in and out while you're watching it. It's really neat. Anyway.
That's all. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good.
I like when people do cool things with replays. Superhot did that really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested, man. Seeing the overwhelmingly positive on this game. And I do like Old West. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
So
I'll bet you'd really like this. And if you like, I don't know, you're a pretty analytical guy. I think you would do well with the way that stuff works. Like, you'd get excited about, I don't know, just conceptually, it just takes it just makes you think in ways that you're not used to thinking, and getting creative in ways you're not used to getting creative. And I don't know, you'd probably do pretty well with it. Also uses a controller if you want. I don't use it that way. I use mouse and keyboard, and it's fine. But there is a console version of this. This ended up coming out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. And can't say enough about it. It's great. At $49, worth every penny. All right. Thanks. And it's big. Oh my gosh, it's big. That's it. Let's see. Oh, and more Old World and Griftlands. I talked about those last week, so I don't need to go more into them, except I've played a bunch more. I think those are amazing games as well. Old World's gotten a couple updates since I last talked to you. Most of them are just incremental stuff. They're working away on that thing. It is still, of the 4X games I own, the one I keep being tempted to play the most. And when I do, I'm never unsatisfied. It's very good. Griftlands is also good.
If Epic does a sale to match Steam,
yeah,
it is going to be a game I get. You have sold me on Old World.
Yeah. Even if you don't. Oh, horses animate now. They don't just float. That's cool. I should mention that.
There you go.
Yeah, you'll like it. Name notwithstanding, you and Brian Dunaway and everyone else I know is like, Old World's a dumb name, but man, I mean, when you sit me down and you say, all right, Scott, are you in the mood for, you have the itch for a 4X game? And I go, yeah. And you say, all right, well, here are your choices. And there are a lot of good 4X games. Every time I'm like, I'm playing Old World right now. Because that, even though it's the one that's the least done, it's the most compelling right now. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, that and Griftlands. Griftlands is great. And we talked about it last week, so no need to go into that more. All right, now, everybody settle in for a bit, because The Last of Us Part 2 has been in John's hands for as long as it's been out. What, since Tuesday? Or no, last Friday?
Last Friday, yeah.
Last Friday. It's all anyone talks about. Last of Us 2, huge release, delayed forever, finally came out. What do you think of it?
It's really good, as it turns out. In its own, I mean, you kind of know what you're getting with it, I'll say, to some degree. I'm going to try and keep this, I will keep this spoiler free. I'm not going to say anything that are major spoilers about the game, so nobody has to fast forward or anything. Just to talk generally about it, the game feels like a continuation of the first. It definitely plays better. I think in general, I feel like I have better control of my character than I did before. There's a lot more of, I did the thing I meant to do, as opposed to the, I'm fighting with the controls and stuff's weird. So they've done little tweaks here and there. But generally speaking, you should have a pretty decent idea if you're going to enjoy The Last of Us Part 2, based on how you felt about The Last of Us Part 1. If your issue is gameplay, I will say this. Not only does the game play better, but they have added a ton of accessibility options to this. And when I say accessibility, I don't mean there's no camera shake or things like that. They literally have options for enemies can't see you if you're crouched. They just will remove the ability for enemies to see you. If that's how you want to play the game and that's a feature you think would be important, you can have it in there. You can make enemies less aggressive. You can make them miss more. There are sliders galore in this if you want to dive into, I want to make this game fun for me. you can totally do that. I've been playing through what I think is their medium or default difficulty. I've actually found the game to be a little easy on that difficulty, but I'm having a really good time. I haven't done any tweaks with it. And it is one of the most satisfying stealth games I've played in a long time. Speaking of stealth, and this is where I thought of you while you were talking about how much you love stealth games. This game does such a good job with the okay, you know there's enemies, they don't know you're there yet. It's their base. Go in and do what you need to do. There's tall grass to hide in. There's crawling around. You can go prone. You can go under things. They give you lots of paths to go. And one of the things in this game that I've actually struggled with is, in a lot of ways, the stealth parts feel almost like Batman Arkham, the Arkham games. But I'm so used to the confined nature of those stealth sections where it's like you got one really big room that I end up fighting everybody in one little tiny area. And when you play in these arenas and these camps, it's huge, the amount of space that you have. You can run, you can dive under things, you can go to different rooms, you can go to different floors. Like, you can really just run all over the place, and you don't realize it until you've killed everybody, and then you go looking for stuff because you still have to scavenge. You know, the handgun in that game, you can carry 16 bullets for total. That's it. Unless you upgrade your capacity, that's all you're going to carry. And so they don't ever turn you into Rambo. You're never going to be running around. Even if you have max ammo for every gun and you have every gun and max items equipped, you still feel like, oh boy, it's iffy if I'm going to get through this. Like, you know, you still have to play smart. You still have to think about it. But it can be extremely rewarding too. So I had one encounter where I was down in a highly infected area, and there were a bunch of the clickers, which if they grab you, it's a one-hit kill. So you have to be very careful around them, but they can't see you. They can only hear you. And I was near a whole bunch of them, and then a whole bunch of military guys came in. And they didn't know about the clickers, and the clickers hadn't gotten up, and I threw one bottle. And all the clickers rushed over, and they started shooting the clickers, and they got into a big fight, and they were taking each other out. So I'd thrown one bottle. They cornered the commandos in a room and dogpiled on top of them and were tearing them up. So I peeked around the corner and threw a Molotov cocktail on the pile of them, and it took everybody out. I threw 2 bottles and wiped out an entire encampment of infected and soldiers.
Wow.
And it felt so rewarding and so cool, and like, oh my gosh, I really did this. I've had moments where it has just gone the exact opposite way of that, and it's just been, you know, by the skin of my teeth surviving, you know, racing, trying to bandage, and then someone finds you, and it's nuts, the action in this. That said, all of that said, I would give the gameplay and the game that's there, especially how it looks, it's one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is coming out of a PS4. You could lie to me and say, "Hey, look at this new PS5 build," and I'd believe you. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the old God of War. Although I think it's funny because Kyle and I were actually talking about this earlier. I think they do a better job in Last of Us at hiding their load screens, because I think they use scripted encounters to hide loads, which is a really interesting idea, that the camera goes tight on the character being in peril. And I think the game is actually loading the next section during these moments. So they do some cool things with that, but the only thing I would caution people about is this is a difficult story. It is a rough world. You may not be in the mood for a story about a virus destroyed society, where people are brutal and cruel to each other, and killing each other very brutally, very clearly depicted. That might not be your jam right now, and I wouldn't blame you one bit if that was the case. The game is brutal emotionally. But if that either isn't going to hit you that hard, or if you're like, you know, I think I can get through it, or that doesn't tend to bother me that much, what's there in that game is an extremely rewarding experience. That game, if you look at its Metacritic score, it's getting review bombed, I think, for a lot of bullshit reasons. But that said, even they said themselves that their story was meant to be divisive. I completely understand why. I think as of today, I got to the reasons why the story is going to be tricky for a lot of people. And I definitely get it if the story turns people off, but I think you got to play through it and you got to see for yourself if you're intrigued. So I can't obviously tell you what the surprises are in store for this game because one, I don't know all of them. And two, I just said I wasn't going to do spoilers, but I think it's worth playing. I think it's it's an incredible experience. And as weird as it is to say about a video game, it is one of the best acted things I have encountered in the realm of video games ever.
I've heard some say some of the best acting in any medium. Like it's just really strong stuff.
You look at it and you're looking at pixels and they are emoting in a way that's just reaching into your chest and pulling at you. And yeah, they did facial, capture and all of that. And, so there's a reason there are actors behind this, but it's incredible what they're pulling out of it. It's truly something special.
Yeah. It's, reviewing quite well, sitting at a lovely 94% by most critics.
Their own proprietary engine?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's their own thing. They always have. I mean, it's the evolved. It's just evolved with their Uncharted engine over the years. Like this is still working in that realm, but that was always amazing too. Like they have a tendency to do that. What blows me away is this is Naughty Dog, the company what brought you Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 1, or that weird fighting game on the 3DO that no one remembers. Like they've come so freaking far, and obviously they have a lot of support from Sony and all that, but I'm glad it exists. I've been hesitant to pick it up. I don't want to. I'm not in the mood for something super soul crushing right now, but you're hearing your description of the gameplay and others telling me about how this might be their favorite playing Naughty Dog game they've played, including the Uncharted series. That's high praise. I already liked playing those.
I would agree with that. This plays better than Uncharted, in my opinion. Now it's a different style game for sure, but it absolutely plays better than Uncharted.
I'm going to jump scare a lot, right? I'm going to be scared.
It will make you scream. There will be Scott screams for sure. It's not.
Gosh dang it!
It's not a horror game. It's not constant, but it's got its moments. It's made me yell. I shared 2 clips in our chat in our Slack where it got me. I didn't scream. I swore, but
well, let's hear one. I got one right here. I'm going to hear it. All right, so here you go. Enjoy. It's a quick one. Oh, why is it playing? Oh, okay. Here. Check this out. This is John, apparently.
Joel?
Oh, whoop. Hold on.
Tommy?
Turn that down. Okay, here we go.
Jesus.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, Ellie got hit with a thing. Arrow. They call those arrows.
That's about it. That freaked me out. I was not expecting an arrow. I thought I was going to climb up a little ledge and it was going to be just fine. It was not fine.
All right, let's try this one. There's another one. Hold on. Let's play this one. Okay, there's a Reverend Dawn at a workbench. Let's see how this goes.
Oh, hey, speaking of the workbench, I found the workbench. So
what happens here? Oh, no.
You'll see.
You're going to open something and there'd be one of those mushroom head guys in there. He's getting some ammo. Workbench. Okay. Oh, geez. I hear stuff. Okay. Maybe.
All right. Let's work. Oh, shit.
That's not cool. You're working on the thing. People shouldn't run up on you.
See what I mean? They messed with you, man.
Ooh.
I thought I was happily in a safe menu doing crafting. I thought this was just a quiet moment for me as somebody freaking grabbed me.
That's scary. All right. Well, sorry. The rules apply. Scott only plays scary games if people donate them. So if somebody beats this on their CD, like they bought it on disc, you didn't do digital and you have it on disc. And when you beat it and you're done with it, let me know. I'll pay for shipping. I'll borrow your copy and play it, and then I'll send it back because I am not gonna buy Scary. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Those are just 2 moments, Scott. You should stream it though if you play it.
Oh, I definitely stream it. Yeah, I've got an Elgato thing and all that. I can just do right
you've
through.
got the whole setup. I have to stream through the PlayStation itself, which
Oh, that's
works well enough, but
That's what Bo did with your Final Fantasy VII business there, Bo. That was fun.
yeah, but they sabotaged Bo.
Oh, who did?
You can't stream the last level.
I forgot
But
about
I had to
that.
play that all by my lonesome. All those
That's-
people, those ones and ones of people that joined me for my stream to watch me play were disappointed by not being able to see the end. I felt bad.
That's a bummer. All right, Last of Us 2 sounds awesome. Hey, we talked about Outer Worlds last week, but in the meantime, you have finally played Invisible Ink, Game of Year 2015 for me, and that was even more, I liked it more, or I played it more than I did The Witcher that year. So that says a lot for me. I loved it. Stealth-based, turn-based, kind of XCOM-y, but at the same time, randomly generated. There's a lot of things to say about that game, but what do you think about 2015's Game of the Year, Invisible Ink?
I like it. I'm not in love with it yet.
Okay. Give us some time.
I'm not very far. I've only done, I think, 2 or 3 missions total. So I'm just scratching the surface of it. But I started playing it, honestly, because the stealth was so good in Last of Us.
Yeah.
That I just was in the mood for a sneaking, like very tactical, very take this person out, move on, do this. And the problem with committing to streaming your entire time playing a game is you can't do that just casual. I feel like playing the game right now, but you don't want to go through all the problems of setting up the stream and getting it going and all of that.
Sure.
So I needed some outlet for that. So I started playing Invisible Ink to try and scratch that stealth itch because Last of Us Part 2 is doing such a good job. And I like it. I'm having a hard time getting all the systems. They have a decent tutorial, but they throw everything at you all at once.
Yeah.
And I still feel a little buried under the game.
Yeah.
So I'm making my way through it.
Keep going. It'll
Yeah.
You'll find I found my jam immediately, but I think you'll find your it'll click for you. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. I just got to find the flow of it.
Yeah.
I will say I think I'm an evil stealth guy, and Invisible Ink is a nice stealth game.
Yeah, they want you to be heroes in that game for sure. Yeah.
That's not me. I am a cut the guy's throat so that he does not get back up and there's no chance of finding you, which is probably why I find The Last of Us 2 so satisfying.
You might
no
really
button for pin the guy down for a little bit.
Yeah, you might really like Desperados then, because it is like there's nothing quite like getting up behind a dude and knifing him right in the neck. It's great. You'll enjoy it. I'll get all your violence out in your video games. That's how we do it, folks. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you're playing it. Bo, Monster Train. Is it good?
You recommended it to me, so
Yeah.
I would try it out. I didn't end up streaming it, but it's very good. There's some stuff about it I wish were different, but it is definitely more engaging than Slay the Spire.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the
for
same
sure.
game, except instead of lots of levels, there's only 9, which is the part I hate. I wish it was a little longer. But there's a lot of variety, and it's super fun.
Yeah.
Way to pass the time.
Can you explain the parts about it? I have it now, and I haven't played it much. I played a little, but how does the the thing where you buy minions or whatever, and they kind of act like I don't know, like tower defense almost. Like
they're like minions in Magic the Gathering. I mean, basically, in Slay the Spire, you don't really play creatures, right? You're the dude, and then you play spells at things.
Mm-hmm.
So this one has you can play dudes onto the battlefield. Space is limited, and it's tower defense in the sense that they move to the top of the train, and you set up your minions to defend. But it doesn't feel like it's only 3 levels. There's no tower defense mechanics, so to speak. It's just lanes, basically. And then at the end of your turn, we hit end turn, their combat resolves. Actually, it adds an extra dimension and layer to a game like Slay the Spire that probably these games should have more of in the future.
Yeah.
Like Hearthstone, the roguelike deals with Hearthstone, you know, like that. You play creatures in the battlefield and they battle. It's pretty much that. But it's kind of cool because you play the denizens of hell, I guess, and you're fighting the angels because they're jerks.
Yeah, of course.
And that's pretty much it. But it's a cool aesthetic. It's a neat take. It's like a Diablo TCG game, but weird because it's on a train for some reason.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. It's I recommend. If you have it, then you want to play a game like Slay the Spire, but want to have a new experience, this is definitely a winner.
That's what I'm getting out of Griftlands, but I wish Monster Train didn't look. I don't like the art style. I'll just say it. I wish I liked the art style of Monster Train.
It's better than Slay the Spire.
Oh yeah, a lot better.
What you mean?
Yeah, it just looks like I don't know. It's like my 7th grade stoner buddies drew it. I don't know why. It's a weird thing to say, but it's just not.
Yeah, no, sure, I get it. I wouldn't rave about the art either in it, but it's miles better than Slay the Spire.
Yeah, I think that's why Griftlands, which, you know, most of the Clay games have borrowed from all their games kind of share a similar art style. Art people who define the art style of their games. Griftlands looks like one of those, but man, it looks good. That is such a good looking game. And I'm really enjoying that one as well. It's a good time for deck builders, I think. Divinity 2 going good with friends. I haven't been able to be in the last 2 sessions, but how's it going?
We haven't got too far. So we're in Driftwood. We're in Act 2 now. Pubis is doing fine.
Good.
Pubis Van. What is it? Pubis Van Choderchuck or something like that?
Choderchuck or whatever I called him. I can't remember.
So he's doing good. He's still shooting his arrows.
Yeah.
And we're all at the bar. Right now we're at the bar in Driftwood. We did the arena, and I think we had to do the battle over like 6 times.
Oh no.
And it was really boring because I'm the tank. So all I do is like heal and do stuff, but because you have to wear a blindfold for one of those matches, I had to take my helmet off, and I had tyrant armor, so I was cursed and couldn't move the entire time. The battle that we kept having to do over, my character's moves was to stand in place, and because we were blinded and no range, I heal myself. So I literally did that for 4 hours.
That blindfold fight's pretty rough.
Yeah,
I just needed to I have to get rid of that tyrant armor, man. It's actually annoying.
Yeah.
When you get from Brachus Rex in Act 1, and you have to wear all of it. If you only wear part of it, it curses you.
Right. You got to have it all. That makes sense. Crofton still agent of chaos and causing encounters to be weird. Okay. You know. Awesome.
Yeah. He actually did one good move. So
oh, good.
We had to give him praise for it. So
yeah. The stealthy rogue dragon who breathes fire as his opening move.
Fire and walks through it and is on fire. And you can completely see, speaking of stealth games.
Yep. And then here's my favorite thing about Crofton. We'll be playing and just sort of getting ready for something. And out of nowhere, the conversation will go, guys, Bo, I was just wondering if one of us were to fall off an edge and die and we're dead now, is that a problem for us to continue forward? And like, it's just
he does that all the time. Right? I'm like, can you stop clicking? It's like a board game. You don't need to go everywhere all the damn time.
He loots everything, including each other. Yeah. He's just a hoot. I really like playing with him. But anyway, Destiny 2 still a hell of a thing, that game.
Oh, did you guys talk about Baldur's Gate last week?
No, not. We may have talked about the new stuff a little.
We'll save it then, because I think we're running on time. But that was also a pretty big highlight in the past week.
Yeah, that looks
really I forgot to watch that stuff. I need to see it.
It looks
big
really
recommend
good,
on
John.
Watching it. It's
you're gonna like it.
I think my favorite part. There's a moment in there where that guy who runs the place, who looks kind of, he's got a look about him. I don't know.
You mean the head of the studio? The head of the studio?
Yeah, the head of the studio. Yeah, he's just
he's a cool looking dude.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he's a cool looking dude, but he's that distinct guy. Anyway, so he like at one point, I guess an employee walks by him as he's streaming, and he's like, "Is there a problem?" And like he completely shifted from like happy guy streaming to like really irritated, and then back like in a microsecond.
Yep.
He's like, "Is there a problem?"
Yep.
Hey guys, Baldur's Gate 3, because like I think he was nervous that someone walked behind him and was pissed, and then realized he was on camera for a video that's going to be watched a bajillion times, and was immediately back into the zone. I'm like, okay, I see.
There's a lot of intensity on that dude right now, probably to get that game right. So I could see that being a little tense. It looked really great, John. You should watch that video.
There's a lot of intensity, and somehow they can't make it. Like, I get that they want to make it seem live and organic, and it's great. But sometimes I'm just like, you could have prepared a bit more. He's like, I've been practicing this game, and I'm like, really?
Yeah. It was a little...
There was that first showing where he was just constantly dying.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was like, we're just going to play till we die. And then he died 2 seconds in. And he's like, oh, no, we're going to...
He's like, I swear I'm good. I practice.
Yeah.
It's kind of charming, actually.
Yeah. He's interesting. It looked good, though. You should watch it. It looks great. It looks like, it's definitely that engine. It's definitely those mechanics.
John's gonna love that Gith character, or Gith Yankee character, like the green alien. Like she's like a dual wielding warrior lead lady.
I'm in. Look at that. Yeah. That's all it took. Although, I mean, I don't know. I guess we haven't talked about any plans on what we might do or anything like that. If that is a game I play on my own, I think I would probably try to create our There Will Be Dungeons team and see how it fares.
Oh, that'd be fun. Ooh, we should try that together. Can we do that? Can we make a whole fake team?
I don't know. There's probably a lot to figure out. I think it's too early, and if we commit on the show, then people are going to be disappointed. So I think we will have to figure all of this out, because I also think it's a 4-person limit, which is...
I didn't know that.
5. We got a party 5. So I think there's a lot to figure out there, but I definitely... I mean, the reason I didn't watch it was because I know I'm excited.
Well, of course you're going to play that. Of course. Yeah. It looks rad. Also, the chat's been found out that Invisible Ink is currently on sale in this Steam sale for $4.99. Dumb cheap, perfect game. Get it. There's no reason to not have that game. And the other thing, and John, you can confirm this because you haven't played it, but when it came out, or you just started playing it in 2015, it looked great then. It looks great now. It still looks like a very cool stylistic game.
It looks good. I would actually be a little critical of the look. I know this is going to be a bummer. I love their art style, because I'm 100% with you on that being Griftlands' greatest strength.
Yeah.
And it's that art style, which is phenomenal. However, the stages right now are too busy, and I have a very hard time telling what is what sometimes, because there's maybe just a little too much.
Here's what you gotta do. You gotta do
that game was missing.
You gotta rotate. You gotta EQ rotate a lot, and also there's that option to take the walls down. Have you done that yet? Where you remove the walls?
I haven't taken the walls down. I probably should.
You should do that, because that makes a huge difference if it's throwing you off. Later on, it won't matter because you'll be used to it. But early on, if that stuff feels, like there's just a lot in front of you, you can make the walls basically disappear, and it works really well. It's a good way to do it.
I just want to kill the guards. I know it's not going to let me, but man, our life would be so much easier if we just killed those guards.
Well, they do have, later on, there's dudes with full-on guns, and they can kill guards. So,
I just steal from them constantly, though. That's what I do. I knock them out, and I just start taking their stuff.
Yeah, you can just take their poop. And there's even a setting where you can make it so guards never get up. So it's basically killing
really?
them.
Hold on. We just found it. We just found what I need to enjoy that game.
Yeah, and it's like one setting, and the rest of the game, the rest of the options can still be the same. That's what's cool about that game. They have a million ways to play it. Kind of like you're talking about with Last of Us 2 a little bit. With difficulty.
Oh yeah, people dive into that menu because it's crazy, and it was the same thing with XCOM 2. Actually, all I needed for XCOM 2 from me when that game first came out, not liking it, to it being one of my favorite games to play, was just there's one little tweak in advanced settings where you can double any timers for the stage. As soon as I did that, loved that game, because I play too slow and methodical for what that game wanted.
Same.
And I didn't like it. I was like, well, this game wants me to play in a way that I don't find fun, so I guess I don't like this game.
I hate timers.
That game was perfect.
I hate timers, and I also never get achievements that are time-based. I never get them. Unless there's an achievement for something taking way too long, I might get that. But I'd much rather take my time, and stealth games that have a timer can bite me right in the hole. I don't like that. All right. Well, there you go. Lots of games, lots of fun, good stuff all around. Great recommendations. A quick email now.
That's a good question.
Here it is. This is came to us on the site, frogpants.com/core. This is about Deep Rock Galactic. Comes in from Sierra X, who says, "Hey, fellow space dwarves, I'm a recent subscriber and patron, and wanted to let you know that I'm often playing DRG at night on my own. If you ever need an extra miner, it would be my honor if you considered inviting me. I figured it's a shot in the dark, but I'll try anyway. Rock and stone, brothers. See you in the mines."
Rock and stone.
Rock and stone. I actually meant to play a bunch of that this week and just got busy, but still an amazing game. And we'll look for you, dude. I don't know if you're on any of our friends list, but yeah, I'm always down for.
Still feel like I haven't scratched all the secrets of that game yet, and yet I've put in a ton of hours.
Yeah, there's plenty to do.
They just put more in. Like, that's the crazy thing. Every time they do one of their big patches, it's like, yeah, we just added this stuff to the biome because here's other secondary objectives, and actually all their DLC stuff is on sale as part of the Steam sale. I don't know how interested any of you are in that, but
I am.
Thing of note.
I didn't know they had DLC. Wait, they have DLC?
It's just skins. It's just skins.
Yeah, but I like skins. Skins are cool.
But the problem with skins is that the internal skin system, like the whatever they have for the unlock, is so like. There's so much investment in doing it that I feel cheap buying stuff, because then like that's part of the progression. That's part of the reward system. So in buying that stuff, I feel like I'm short circuiting like part of what drives me forward in the game. So I actually, and I'm usually a sucker for this stuff. And they're very cool looking, but I'm like, yeah, if I don't have to buy skins and get cool stuff for my dude, then I worry that I'm like, just short-circuiting the gameplay loop.
It's like me when I bought 100 loot boxes in Overwatch, and all of a sudden I didn't care about playing Overwatch anymore.
yeah, exactly.
That can happen. Yeah, you got to be careful. I'm looking at them now. These are good looking. It's this Future Corp stuff. Dark Future Pack is pretty cool. How much are these? That's not too bad. $5.99. I don't know. I'd consider it.
They described it as like a way, because there's a lot of early backers, and they were like, if you'd like to continue supporting the company, they're selling skin packs. So, I don't know. It seems like it was intended for long term. People have played the game long and need something fresh. And yeah, but
it's like these reviews. The reviews say things like, "First cosmetic pack I've ever bought for any video game. Don't care much about looking like Advent, but you really earned it. Thank you for all the hard work you keep putting into this game." The next guy says, "Purchased on the sole purpose of supporting the developers. Also, the armor is pretty awesome, rock and stone." So there's a lot of, even the comments are reflecting like, I'm doing this because
it's like a Patreon thing or deal.
Yeah, way of doing it. So you're actually getting something for your support. That's cool. I like it. Yeah. Those guys have earned it. It's a great game. Worthy of your time, everybody. Go play it. All right. Again, send us your messages. Go to frogpants.com/core and let us know what you think, how you're feeling. Did you play any of these games we talked about? Do you have any qualms with what we've said? We're open to your comments. So go over there and send those in. It's going to do it for the show. A reminder that we support ourselves here on the show by a Patreon. And by that, I mean head on over. Patreon.com/core show is where it's at. Lots of great rewards. You get bonus content for every episode each week, including today's. So if you want more information on how to get all that, check it out. It's all in plain English at patreon.com/core show. If you don't speak English, you can translate it to your language of choice. All right. I think that's it. John, any final words before we go? Anything you want to say that'll blow people's minds?
Yeah, chat room's really sad that we did a whole episode without talking about Animal Crossing. So, hey, they're going to do a free update in Animal Crossing where you can swim now.
Yeah, you can get out and you can jump off your dock, I saw in this video. That looked cool.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So there you go. We talked about it.
Summer event. Plus, John made bank on his turnips today, which is exciting.
I did. I made 5 million bells today, almost. That's
pretty good. And I'm still playing it every day, but it's a constant in my life now. So bringing it up on a show seems dumb because I play it all the time. Bo's still not playing it, so he's probably sick of us talking about it anyway. I would be.
I mean, I'm not sick of you talking about it, but I don't play it.
Yeah, he's got no interest. Bo, from you, any groundbreaking words of wisdom or thoughts or feelings or philosophies you'd like to share with us before we go?
No, just remember that no matter how differently and upset you feel about someone, that they're a person too.
Yeah.
We all need to start treating each other with compassion and kindness.
I like that a lot. That's a great way to end things here on the show. Core's about being happy and video games. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here, and thanks for your support. We'll see you next week. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.